Do you need to take public transport in Germany but you don't even know where to start? I'm Brittany, an American immigrant living in Germany, and I'm going to show you everything that you need to know. And we're off on a weekend trip to Hamburg. One of the things that I love most about Germany is the public transport. You can just bop around anywhere in Germany. It takes you to so many different places, so I'm going to take you with me. Welcome to Hannover Hauptbahnhof. Hauptbahnhof in German just means main train station. It's gonna have everything that you may need, including baggage claim, restaurants, bathrooms, ticket information. Now, if you're at a regular Bahnhof or just train station, that may mean there might not be anybody there to help you, no ticket office, no bathroom. It is just a station to where you get on and off your train. Now, if using public transport makes you a little nervous, you are not alone. Even though transport in Germany is super convenient and can take you so many different places, it's also a little confusing too. One thing you need to know is that there is local transport, which is managed regionally, and then there is national transport that is managed by the Deutsche Bahn. The local transport deals with basically everything that's going to be inside of the city. The national transport, which is handled by the Deutsche Bahn, is usually long distance transport. And this is where it can get a little confusing because there are a few different apps that you can use that can help you with public transport in Germany. You have the Deutsche Bahn app, DB app, and that's going to handle basically everything. That's going to be your long distance trains, and it's also going to be your short distance trains, your subways, and your bus lines as well. So if you are traveling long distance, it is good to use the Deutsche Bahn app. However, if you are going to be traveling locally, you should always use the local app for the region. For example, Hannover, they use the Östra app. Sorry, my German. Östra. You're going to use the Östra app, and that's going to help you navigate throughout the city using the subway, using the bus lines, and any short distances throughout the city. Each region has their own local public transport app. Berlin is BVG, Hanover is Östra, Hamburg is HBV, and so on and so forth. The different types of local transport in Germany is the first one you have bus, which is Bus. You also have the tram or trolley that goes throughout the inner city and also usually converts into the U-Bahn, the underground, or also known as the subway. Then you have the S-Bahn, which is like the urban railway, and they go short distances. And if you're in places like Hamburg, you also have the ferry, which is also included in the public transport, which I think is so cool. So let's go over the tickets that you can buy. First, we have the Deutschland ticket, which is my personal favorite. It's 49 euros for the entire month, and you can use unlimited regional transport. So that includes ferries, bus, and short distance trains. The short distance trains are usually labeled RB or an RE whenever you look at your ticket or you're looking at prices. The Deutschland ticket does not include long distance trains though, unfortunately. Next you have Länder tickets, which is like a regional day pass. So I live in Niedersachsen, which is Lower Saxony, and if I wanted to buy a Länder ticket for the day, that means that I could, I believe it's spend 26 euros and travel anywhere within this region with the train, unlimited. You can also buy group tickets where you can travel with up to 5 people, and it will reduce the price of the ticket for each individual person, so that is also a cool option. There is also student passes, so if you're going to school at a university and some other different types of schools, you'll have to double check with your region. You get a drastically reduced ticket. And also, if you're working with a company in Germany, you should also ask if they help or they take care of public transport, because a lot of companies do that as well. They'll either completely take care of it or it might be at a reduced price. So you'll have an Einzelfahrschein, which is basically a one-way ticket. It's your starting point to your end destination. And that usually has a time limit, so you have to check on your region what that time limit is. But you also have a Tageskarte, which is just a day card. It's good for the entire day. Typically, it's like the 24 hours since you bought the card, and 24 hours after that in some regions. In other regions, it's just until the train stops running for the day, which is sometimes at 1 or 2 in the morning. Before the 49 euro ticket, it was a better deal for me just to get a day card to go into the city. So that might be the case for you as well. The Tageskarte will give you the public transport for the entire day, and that includes all of the local transports like the ferries and the buses and the local trains, the subways, all of that good stuff. Now, when you're buying your one-way ticket or your day card, you do need to make sure that you are buying the card for the zone that you want to travel in. So typically you have the A zone, which is like the smaller, the center. You'll have a B zone that's a little bit bigger, a C, D, depending on the city. If you buy a day card or a single card just for the zone A, you don't get to travel outside of that zone. You get to travel unlimited within zone A, and that makes it cheaper. And it gets a little bit more expensive with how many zones that you want to buy. Please note, if you do want to take your bicycle on the train, you will need to buy a ticket for your bicycle. If you want to bring your pet, like your dog, on the train, you will probably have to buy a ticket. Larger dogs definitely will probably have to buy a ticket. Smaller dogs will depend on the region. For example, in Hannover, you have to buy, I believe it's a child's ticket, but I believe in Munich, a small dog is like free of charge. Kids oftentimes will travel free or at least at a reduced rate, depending on their age and also the region. So for the bicycle card, you have the Fahrradkarte, the dog card, you have the Hundekarte, or the kids ticket, you have the Kinderkarte. Now there's two different ways of buying a ticket. First, you can just do it online or through an app or the website. Those tickets are automatically validated, so you buy them and you're good to go. Then there is a second way where you can actually buy the ticket at the train stations themselves or at the public stations themselves. However, those public tickets need to be validated. There are ticket machines placed all over throughout the Hauptbahnhof, also at the smaller train stations as well. You just buy your ticket, grab it out of the machine. They will usually have a validating stamper right next to the ticket machine, and then it will stamp today's date on it. Make sure that you have your ticket on you at all times. There is a ticket controller that are on the trains. They will come to each and every single person to check your ticket. That also means keep your cell phone charged so it doesn't die if you buy your ticket online. They call it, I believe, a Schwarzfahrer whenever you don't have your ticket on public transport. It's kind of a big deal here. If they catch you, they will immediately get all of your information and make you get off at the very next stop. The fine is 60 euros, and if you don't pay that, there's some major litigations coming your way, so make sure you pay your ticket. Let's go over the common signs and announcements that you should know. Excuse my horrible German. First you have Abfahrt, which is departure, and then you have Ankunft, which is arrivals. Two really important ones is Verspätung, which is delay, and that can happen quite often in Germany. And also when your Zug ausfallen or mein Zug fällt aus, so when your train is canceled. You'll also see things like bitte einsteigen, which just means please board, bitte einsteigen, please board, and nicht einsteigen, which is do not board. And that will happen a lot whenever you see a train drive up and stop, and on the little sign, it'll have either the name of the train that it is, or I have like a little announcement like nicht einsteigen, don't get on here. A couple other ones is be like the nächster Halt, which is just like the next stop. So whenever you're sitting in the train, you might hear nächster Halt, Hannover Hauptbahnhof, and you'll know that the Hannover Hauptbahnhof is about to come, and you should gather your things and start to get ready. So the different types of trains, you have the regional trains, which is going to be RB or RE. Then you have the IC, which is inner city trains, which are slightly faster than the regional trains. And then you're gonna have the ICE, which is the long distance trains. And these trains tend to be really fast, depending on how many stops. Now, if there are lots of stops to get one from one place to another, it might still take some time because people have to get on and off. For example, if I take a regional train from Hannover to Hamburg, usually it's not a direct train, and it's a lot slower, so it can take me anywhere from 2.5 to 3 hours. However, if I use the ICE train, that is a direct shot, and it only takes about an hour and 10 minutes. Just so you know, last minute tickets do cost more, so it is better to plan your tickets and buy them in advance. 90 days in advance, so they are cheaper. The closer you get to your date of departure, the more expensive it's going to be. When you are buying your ticket, you'll have two different options. You'll have like a flex, I think it's like a flex ticket, and then you'll have a Sparpreis. Now the flex ticket, it allows you to travel on that train line on that day and in that route at a flexible departure time. So for example, if your train is delayed or you miss your train, you can just jump on a different train to get there. A Sparpreis is a discounted ticket, but you don't get any flexibility. You have to travel on that train on that time for that departure. Real quick, if you're liking this type of video, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Train delays and train cancellations are possibilities, so just make sure to use the app to check on live updates. Other important terms are things like Gleis, which is platform, Richtung, which is direction, links oder rechts, which is left or right, straight ahead, geradeaus. Let's talk about train etiquette. There is a procedure. When the train comes, you're not going to stand directly in front of the door if you're trying to get on the train. You're going to wait for everybody to get off the train first, and so you're going to wait on the outside of the doorway in a straight line. Once everybody gets off the train, then you can enter. Remember that. Now the next one isn't super common in the big city because there's so many people, but for me who live outside of the city, a lot of times Germans love their space on public transport. So if it's not like a packed train or a subway or anything like that, they like to leave room. And so when you have an open seating and you see one person, don't go just sit directly next to that person. A lot of times they will sit like diagonally on the train. But of course, whenever the train gets full, then you have no choice, but that's just how it is. If it's not full, don't sit directly next to somebody. Also, Germans are very quiet on trains. Just in general, I find public transport super quiet, except for the inner city public transport, but regional trains, long distance trains, if you're outside of Berlin, basically is really quiet. For me, it's hauntingly quiet. They just really appreciate the quiet, so make sure that you're respectful of that. And next I'm gonna show you where you can get on and off the public transport, and then my train's gonna be here. All right, so it looks like my train to Hamburg is about to board, so let's go. This little line here is for those who are blind, so you don't want to stand or stop on this here. If you want to get on a bus, you just stand next to the sign or the bus stop. Typically there's going to be a lot of people standing around. You usually enter the front of the bus and then get out of the back of the bus, but that might be different in a larger city. This will have the name of the bus stop and the bus line that will be stopping off at this location. You can see from zone A that this is the inner city zone. Okay, we're inside the main train station, and along the walls you'll see numbers, and that is going to be your Gleis, which is your platform. A lot of times you might have to take the stairs or the escalators to get up to your platform. Also, there's a lot of elevators here that will take you as well if you have suitcases or children or bicycles or whatever. And the bathrooms over here, just know that you have to pay for them, usually €1. And this here will keep you up to date with all of the trains that are going to be departing soon. You have the time with the train number on the left, the destinations, and sometimes it'll show like the stops as well, and then it's going to be your Gleis or your platform that you need to go to. So another example, we are at Gleis 14, gate 14, and then you'll see A and B, and on the other side will be C through G. Now if you want to take the U-Bahn or the underground or the subway, you're going to have to go downstairs, so let's go. This means that it's not working, so you can't use this validator. If you're confused where you're at, it'll always have like the sign of what stop you're at. So when it comes to waiting at your train station, you just don't want to stand too close. Stand far behind this like a little white guide. Like I said before, this is used for people who can't see, and so we stay clear of that. Make sure that we don't stand or walk on it. I typically like to stay in the middle of the platform here because sometimes you don't know where the train is actually going to stop, but over time you get used to the platform and then you know where you can stand. Now let's go up to my platform. On the left, you'll see the departure time and along with your train name and your train number. We are going to RE2. RE is like a regional train, so it's included in the €49 ticket. And we're going to be up next. It's going to leave at 12:40. There's always announcements going on, and it is just saying that it is arriving from Uelzen. On the right here, it'll say bitte nicht einsteigen. That just means please don't get on the train. And here you can just use the Deutsche Bahn app, and I just put in that I want to go from Hanover to Hamburg, and it'll give you all the different options. Whenever it breaks apart here, it just means that you're going to have to get off and catch another train, so it's not a direct train. And then I chose this one here where it has my arrival time. In green, it'll give you an update when it's on time. It's red whenever it's going to be late. The gate is on the right, like I said. And then you can also choose more information on how many stops they're going to be. So it'll let you know how often the train is going to stop. And then this is going to be an Umstieg, and that just means I have to get off and catch my connecting train. The train number and what you can do on the train, that it's handicap accessible, that you can bring your bike. And this is how much it costs just for today at the last minute. So if you book your train at the last minute, it will be more expensive. It's a regional train, so it is included in the price. So it's really a good deal to get the 49 euro ticket. It's a little tight. Oh, but it fit. I hate driving backwards, so I made sure to find a seat going in the direction that I wanted to go in. The second class car, no smoking, no drinking. Even though my ticket is included in the 49 euro ticket, it means it's regional, but that also means that it is slower. So if you take a high-speed train from Hannover to Hamburg, it takes only like a little over an hour, but with this train and my connection, it's going to take me about 2.5, maybe 3 hours. We'll see. Arrived in Hamburg Hauptbahnhof, and you can't tell, but it is raining. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you have any questions, let me know, and please join me on my next adventure. Cheers!